Hello there and welcome back to my video. It is a pleasure to have you join me today as I talk and share with you ways to have and maintain healthy relationships for both ourselves and the partners that we choose to share our life with. It is true that every relationship is very unique because we are all very unique. Therefore, the form or direction our relationships with others will also be different and will depend very much on the initial agreements that we have or we have made with them. These agreements can be anything from simple, obvious verbal agreements that we talk or express ourselves before getting in these relationships to nonverbal agreements that both parties are very aware of these agreements but choose to ignore and not discuss about them for any type of reasons. So they remain unspoken. And then lastly, we have other agreements that even we ourselves are not conscious about these agreements. We're not even aware that we're making these agreements. And it is these two types of agreements, the nonverbal agreement and the unconscious agreement, these are the ones that cause us the most pain in our relationships and will leave one party in any type of relationship feeling rather cheated or at least disadvantaged. These agreements, and even more so the unconscious agreements we make with others, will always leave one person or one party as the victim and the other as the victimizer, based on the perspective you choose to observe the situation from, of course. Because everything depends on the perspective, guys, everything. That's why we have lawyers and judges in our societies, and non-murderers have gone free. Why? Because everything depends on perspective. So today, I really want to talk about how we can get into healthy relationships and maintain these relationships from the onset to the continuation of the relationship, where both parties feel satisfied and get whatever it is that they signed up for to get from the relationship. I will focus more on romantic relationships because I know even though non-romantic relationships can also be affected by the same, it is rather not as complicated to walk away from non-romantic relationships as is the case with romantic relationships. So I will be focusing on the viewpoint of romantic relationships. However, if you think this can also be applied to general relationships in other areas of your life, then you are more than welcome to try and apply this practice in those other relationships as well. So don't feel restricted. The first thing you need to understand about any relationship is why people get or form relationships in the first place is for one basic reason. You want to get something or benefit from that person that you are in a relationship with. The reason you have taken the chance to approach someone, and by this I mean men who in the traditional setting are the ones who would do the pursuing and the chasing. So the reason why you have taken the chance to approach this particular woman or this particular person is because you have seen a potential in them that you didn't see in the others. You have seen that this person will provide your needs that you need met at that particular moment. And for women, well, it's the same. The reason that you have made the choice to say yes to this particular man and not the others that came before him is because you believe that he will be best to provide for the needs that you also need met as a woman. So, bottom line is every relationship's sole purpose at the core really is entirely transactional. You can agree or disagree, but if you are truly honest with yourself, you will realize that you are only with that person because of what you can get from them, and vice versa. And just so you're also aware that love is also a transaction, because you can only get love, that particular love that you are looking for, from this person and not from the rest. So it still remains the goal or the sole purpose of relationships or developing relationships is for survival, and it's purely transactional. If maybe you want proof of this, just observe a lot of men when it comes to paying child support, to an ex-wife. Most of them don't do it willingly. Why do you think that is? Because they're not getting whatever it is that they need from that woman, so they don't see why they should pay her. So the sooner you realize and accept this opinion or this suggestion, the more straightforward and honest you will be with what you want or what you're looking for in a partner and what you expect from that particular relationship. And with this knowledge, you will ensure you are aligned with a partner who is aware and will provide those needs. A lot of relationships are built on assumptions, and people don't sit down and express themselves fully. They do not communicate their needs because most of us don't even know what our deep needs are. We don't really know ourselves intimately. So we don't take time to genuinely understand ourselves and really know what it is that makes us happy, for instance, or makes us sad. And what it is that we are truly searching for in other people. So we align ourselves, or we end up aligning ourselves with the people who are really not for us, people that are different from us. And after a few years, we realize we were sold a raw deal, and that we are not actually happy or fulfilled in that type of relationship. So how do we avoid making these same mistakes over and over in our lives? How do we course correct our lives so we are living completely fulfilled lives? Remember, you are bound to repeat what you did not repair. So until you really figure yourself out, you will keep going around in circles until you define what you, and I mean completely and fully define yourself. It is not really easy to define yourself, because in this timeline in our societies, we are so occupied by everything around us except ourselves. We have very busy daily schedules and routines that leave little or no time at all for us to spend time with ourselves, which makes it hard for us to reflect and get to know ourselves intimately. That being said, we have adapted and learned through our mistakes, and that is why it is always wise to listen to those who have lived longer than us, because they have made many wrong turns to know what to expect if you take certain paths. So always pay attention to what they have to say. The relationships that really help define you or who you are is a relationship that you normally have after your first. When you're a child and you're experimenting and have all these relationships. Okay, I know this will exclude a lot of people who have only had one partner their entire life. But if your life is already great, I don't expect you to be watching this video anyway. So that's okay, I will carry on. If you've had a string of relationships all your life, or your adolescent life, you you know how there are certain relationships that have defined you. You know, they have molded you into who you are today. And I know you must remember those relationships, because I do remember mine. I do remember the relationships that formed me, or that made me who I am today. They taught me, or they taught you what you prefer and you don't prefer in a partner, what you can and what you can't stand or handle in any partner. It is through these relationships that teach us who we are, and this is how we learn. And so if you're a very cautious person who normally is afraid or avoid making wrong decisions or mistakes, I kind of have bad news for you, my friend, because you might not have an idea or a good idea of who you are. Why? Because it is through our unwanted relationships or our unwanted experiences that we know who we are, that we learn who we are, that we learn to form a solid experience or a solid outcome, that this is what I prefer from that. So until you've had a negative experience, you will know, or you will define what a positive experience might look like. So it is through these bad decisions that definitely you will know who you are not, and you move away from those type of experiences. It is people that have made many mistakes. I always stick to this idea that it is people that have made the most mistakes who have a good idea of who they are and what they are searching for in life. You can learn a lot from a bad relationship, because it will steer you away from that to ever happen again. The key word there is being learn. You have to learn through your mistakes. You have to learn from your experiences, because what happens when you don't learn from your mistakes, you're bound to repeat it. As for me, my second relationship was somewhat toxic in the most innocent way, I would say. We were both in our early 20s, still figuring out who we were, and what I learned from that relationship was how I learned to value myself from that relationship. I learned to have and maintain my boundaries. I realized a really great lesson from that relationship, that boundaries are not for the other person to reinforce, but for myself to observe and reinforce, and also not to cross them. I learned a lot from that relationship. I can say I came out different, and since I came out of it mature, I defined my current relationship based on the lessons that I learned from my previous one, so as not to repeat that cycle or that experience. I will keep saying this because I really need you to remember that what you don't repair, you're bound to repeat. The reason why history always repeats itself is because we learn history, but we do not learn from history. That's why it always repeats. I walked out of my previous relationship when I discovered that the needs that I needed were not being met. But before, I didn't know what those needs were. Okay, so the only way I discovered that I had those needs in the first place was through being in this type of relationship. And when I was looking for my current partner, I made sure I defined what those needs were. And these were part of the conditions that I used as my blueprint to find my new partner. It was really simple, I can tell you that. You will just say that this is what I am looking for in a partner. If you cannot meet these conditions, then you're not for me. It's simple. It's as simple as that. The dating game is not complicated, people, if you know what you're looking for. I mean, look at, let's say, for instance, let's look at shopping, okay? If you know exactly what pair of jeans you're looking for, what happens? It's not complicated. You walk in a shop, simply scan around, and if you don't see what you're looking for, you leave. And then until you find what you're looking for, you will obviously get the jeans, pay for them, and off you go. You can do that in under 20 minutes. Try that when you are not sure what you want, or the color of the trousers that you're looking for, or the I don't know, the design of it all. It could take the whole day. Okay, you can even come back empty-handed as well. So look at the dating game as the same. It is easy if you know what qualities you're looking for, and very hard if you don't. Take your younger days as the experimental days. These are your baseline. You meet partners who show you so many qualities and so many characteristics, and you sample as you grow. And this list becomes shorter and shorter as you grow. And then and when you narrow these conditions down to what works for you, and use these conditions to define what your needs are, and make sure you communicate and make the other person aware. Be as blunt as you can. Don't be afraid that this person will walk away. Because if the person is right for you, whatever you say is not gonna move them. Never make the mistake of assuming that they will find out, or that they will guess. That is a disaster waiting to happen. Don't make another mistake of leaving these out either, and say, oh, you will talk about them, or you discuss about these needs when you're more comfortable, or later in a relationship. That's another disaster waiting to happen. They will accuse you of changing and pretending to be someone you are not. And they will leave you because they will think that you are tricking them. So either way, you will be setting up for disappointment. So you might as well just let it out. So bottom line is, my darlings, make your needs known to your partner the first time, as soon as possible. That way you both will know what you're getting yourselves into. Some people will know exactly what they need from the other person, but will not make this known until it is too late for the other person to make or to change their minds about this person, or about being with this person. This is a form of manipulation, people. And people that normally do this will get what they deserve all the time. However, they will mask whatever consequences they're going through under the guise of victimhood. That is why you must always tread carefully when you want to get involved in marital or relationship troubles. 9 times out of 10, the one you think might be the victim isn't actually a victim. They both know what they signed up for. In my next video, I want to talk more on scenarios and implications of the unconscious agreements that people make with others. And I will not just touch on romantic relationships. You will notice that what I've just spoke about in this video can also affect any type of relationship that we have with others. I am really excited to touch on this topic because it affects a lot of people, but they don't know why suddenly a workmate just doesn't talk to them anymore, or a sibling has just turned cold towards them, and you have zero idea what you have done and don't even know where to begin to fix this relationship, because you don't know what you've done or what you did wrong. So the worst thing is the worst things to do is to ask someone why they are cold, or if their attitude has changed towards you, when you know they expect you to know why they've decided to detach from you. So it is complicated, it is confusing situation to be in, but after I have shed some light on why this happened or how this happens, it should give you some form of an idea what or how to deal with your relationships. So until next time, stay safe. Thank you.